Today on the Topping Show, Audi reveals that they might revive their iconic TT sports coupe. Jimmy Kimmel jokes about the Tesla attacks, where radical leftists are burning Tesla vehicles, vandalizing them, and more. Owen Shroyer is swatted as swatting continues against conservatives from radical leftists. And GM has a transmission recall that hurts their top sports cars, including the CT5, CT4, and the Chevy Camaro. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. And it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part podcast, you have Audi saying they might just revive their iconic TT sports coupe, which should be nice after years of saying they're going to cancel their iconic cars and making bland, boring sedans with what it seems to be smaller and smaller engines, which excite less and less and less. Let's just say them canceling the iconic awesome R8 with a V10 engine in it, that was, I think, a blunder in and of itself, and the rumor is they're going to reverse that decision as well. Hopefully they have a modicum of intelligence, so they'll use a good old manual transmission, but time shall tell with that. Now, I'm one of those folks who like to do a little window shopping, so I wanted to see what's one of the coolest Audi TTs for sale right now? Obviously, with 3 pedals. They should all have that by default, though they did not. And, I mean, this is, what is this, 2001 Audi TT? And honestly, it doesn't look that much dated. Now, granted, unfortunately, the headlights, because of the plastics, they're a little bit faded. But the rest of the car, I mean, paint is darn near immaculate. It's got a funny, it's a cute little sports coupe right there. A little bit bigger than Mazda Miata. Nice, turbocharged 4-cylinder, which, given the platform and size of this car, I'd say it's pretty good. Can't judge too much. I have a Honda Civic Si. That's the standard what we have. 4 cylinders of glory, though. I mean, shoot, who wouldn't want to do an iconic Dodge Viper engine swap in a Honda Civic? No one would do that, but it would make me smile. If I won lottery, I might do that. But here you can see the fun interior of the Audi. And again, there's something nice about the simplicity of this. And again, this is also from 2001. Got nice standard gauges. You got the good old stick shift right in the middle there. Funny little rubber boot around the whole thing. And it's, nice, seamless, and a great track toy. I mean, it's one of those things where I wish they made more of these. It's getting harder and harder to find these things. And even though this is how many years old? 2001, it's still $15,000 before, all the additional things and extortion things like taxes and registration fees. But again, it's a great, fun little sports coupe. And you do see them fairly frequently when you go to the track, especially for the circuit tracks. Granted, it doesn't have the volume or presence like the Mazda Miatas. Those things are everywhere, but again, I always thought there was a cool segment in the market for, not to be pejorative, but like a luxurious Mazda Miata. Because again, for that size and a 2-seater, there aren't too many options for that left. Now, granted, it's probably a small part of the market, but I always thought these are really cool. Could never afford to get one throughout the years. Man, I always thought they were neat. Now, going to the article by Motor1.com, they specifically say, quote, Audi is already considering the new TT Coupe. CEO Gerald Dollner wants the brand to get back to the sports car game, and it could draw inspiration from the original Audi TT, which the one pictured actually looks a lot better than the one for sale I was looking at. I'm not too much of a fan of the rag tops. I like, hard top cars. And I don't know, I don't know what's wrong with the Volkswagen group, which again, they own Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Ducati, Bugatti, Lamborghini, and more. I don't know why they keep making cars in silver. Porsche is notorious for doing this throughout the years, but it's gotten to the point where I will never, perhaps with the exception of the Carrera GT Porsche, I don't think I would ever want to buy a silver car again. My family had one growing up. Something about silver is so boring, only perhaps second to white in terms of boring car color. But I partially digress. Now this comes to us thanks to Chris Perkins, who's a writer at Motor1.com, and he says, quote, With the death of the TT in 2023 and the Audi R8 in 2024, Audi has been without a sports car for the first time in decades. In fact, the German automaker doesn't sell a two-door core at all. Oh, what the hell's wrong with them? You have a single coupe left? The audacity, Audi. Now, I mean, which makes sense when I think of Audi in the current lineup. I think of large, boring SUVs and crossovers, which are very good from a business perspective because there's a lot of profit in that. And I mean, there's a lot of consumers that like it, but from an enthusiast perspective, no, absolutely not. Now they say they might change soon. Earlier this month, we heard that the R8 is set to make a dynamic comeback in the coming years, and now Audi is strongly considering a new model inspired by the original TT. During a recent Volkswagen Group presentation for financial results, might have been a pretty depressing presentation, but nevertheless, Autocar asked CEO Gernot if the company is considering a new sports car. He said, for sure, that's part of the brand's DNA, and we have to find a right way, timing-wise, to integrate it into our portfolio. Timing is particularly rough and tough, as Audi just announced it's laying off 7,500 people by the end of the decade. But Blunder said that the sports cars are part of the broader vision for the future. Now, hopefully they have a gas engine with the manual transmission, so it'll last for quite literally decades, like we just saw with that 2001 Audi TT. Still runs like a champ, I'm sure. It has 60,000 miles. But yeah, if you're on EV for the track, they're trash. You can't charge enough between the sessions. They don't have the insurance, and they're mostly a joke. Now, he says he also spoke to the brand's new design chief, Massimo Francella, who was hugely influenced by the original TT. Apparently taking a day off work when the first model arrived at his local dealer, he spent the whole day looking at the car. He says, quote, the absolutely fantastic aspect is that it seems that he somehow had Audi in mind for his whole career. Now it is time to let Audi out of the mind of Massimo Francella, Blunder says, unquote. Per the CEO, any Audi sports car won't come before the brand establishes firmer rooting in its core lineup. Like the rest of the Volkswagen Group, Audi has suffered from slower than expected EV demand. Yeah, because they're crap. Ugh, trash. And VW software programs aren't the best. It has heavily refreshed the lineup, though. The A5 has replaced the A5, gas electric A6s, a new Q5, and the electric Q6 e-tron. I don't know who's in charge of this marketing or these names. Nevertheless, they say Audi has been defined by its groundbreaking sports cars. The original Quattro Coupe put the brand on the map as a technological leader, and the TT showed the world that it was a design force, with the R8 demonstrating it belonged among the sports car greats, which a lot of people also said it was just a discount Lamborghini because, again, both parents, same company, and lots of parts sharing. Very similar to the large, I think mostly stupid, Lamborghini SUV. Yeah, spoiler, if you actually pop off some panels, you'll see a lot of Audi parts on that because it's basically an Audi SUV with Lamborghini lipstick put on it. Now, they continue saying, quote, Audi needs strong sales volume sellers, of course, but arguably it needs to show the world why the brand matters, which, yeah, I don't know if it really does anymore. The first comment comes from Michael saying, quote, I hope they give it a manual and dual clutch options. After all, sports car is supposed to be fun, so a manual makes a ton of sense, which, yes, it would. Another gentleman says, I'd like to see the TT make a comeback. Now with my second TT MK3 manual, to me, it's the only good-looking sports car that's reasonably priced. Which, again, for Audi, to have the car that's more sporty, more luxurious than the Miata, and somewhat similar in size and proportions, I think there's definitely a market out there. And you got to give people a reason to be excited about your brand. Again, when I look at Audi.com, actually, that's how crappy their brand is. I haven't looked at that in a while. Like when I'm window shopping, I've never gone to Audi.com in maybe 36 months. And don't get me wrong, I actually do go window shop at things that are widely, comically out of my income range. I look at Porsche.com all the time. And I play with the little building configurator and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, when you think of Audi, what do you think of? I think of sedans from like the 2000s era. My friend had one, or more accurately, his parents had one. But I mean, the R8, it'll be interesting to see how they bring that back. Again, there's so many people who really appreciate a gas engine platform. And hopefully, you know, the Germans will grow a pair and actually push back against the European Union and all their Marxist rules and all arbitrary crap that's basically forcing them to make EVs. Again, Germany's the #1 GDP contributor, and yet they acquiesce and pathetically say, oh yeah, EU, we'll stop making our most profitable cars that consumers like. We'll make EVs. So hopefully, I'm not sure what the odds are, hopefully Germany grows a pair and actually start to make vehicles that people want. But we'll see. I mean, there's so many cars that just disappointed. Even, I mean, geez Louise, Porsche said they're going to make more EVs because the government's forcing them to. So we'll see. Hopefully, this does not come back as an abomination and it's just an EV, Audi TT EV or something like that. But let me know your thoughts and comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the cultural part podcast, you have Jimmy Kimmel joking about the Tesla attacks as radical leftists left all over the country and all over the globe continue to spray paint and even bonfire Tesla vehicles. Which, yeah, a couple years ago they worship Elon as God, and now, because CNN told them to, now they're lighting the vehicles on fire. Thankfully, though I'm not a fan of tech in general in terms of, privacy, there are so many cameras on a Tesla, it should be easy to find the scumbags who are destroying people's personal property. Now, specifically going to the good old interweb and specifically going to x.com, this is credited to End Wokeness. He has a little clip of Jimmy Kimmel and his signature douchebaggery. Now, End Wokeness says, quote, Jimmy Kimmel wants more Tesla attacks. And Jimmy Kimmel's on ABC. How on earth are they still in business? I don't know more than one person who actually authentically watches Jimmy Kimmel for enjoyment. I don't know anyone who actually trusts him for data. I mean, how many sheep watch Jimmy Kimmel these days? Sir, I don't think it's viable from a business perspective. Maybe it's a lost leader, but nevertheless, we'll hear what he has to say. Spoiler alert, he has a coy douchebaggery laugh and smile in this clip.
Vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't vandalize. Don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so,
and which maybe that's a good Scrabble word. I don't think I've used coy probably in 2 years. It's a good word for Scrabble, I suppose. But yeah, he has that typical Jimmy douchebag smile. So he's like, don't attack him, but really that's what he wants because that's what the woke mind virus does to him. And this did not go as viral as I thought, perhaps because he's not as popular as he once was. It's only got about 175,000 views and 2.9 thousand likes. Now going to the top comments here. Got their Eagleman says, quote, Jimmy Kimmel is an FN tool, getting 948 likes. Fact check, true. Elon Musk actually responded himself saying he's such an unfunny jerk, getting 6.6 thousand likes. Quite a few to say the least. Nova Jensen says Kimmel misses those Diddy parties. There's a meme of Jimmy Kimmel with his crocodile tears. And it says, when you realize no more Diddy parties, getting 55 likes. You also have Make Men Great Again saying, quote, Kimmel is just another Hollywood stooge cheering the leftist terrorism. Elon Musk rescues astronauts. Jimmy Kimmel reads bad jokes off teleprompter. Guess which one actually matters? Getting 40 likes. True. Chaotic genius. For a minute there, I thought it was Catholic. Should probably get tested for dyslexia. Unfortunately, there's no pills or like really way to fix it. So I never thought, I never really thought why bother. But nevertheless, I will attempt to read today. Chaotic genius says, quote, so now encouraging crime is just another late night joke. If a conservative even hinted at this kind of thing, the outrage machine would be in overdrive. The left normalizes political violence when it suits them, getting 71 likes. Oh, of course. I mean, not only do they cheer it on, they pay for it. I mean, famously, Kamala Harris during the George Floyd Summer of Love riots, she paid to set up a fund and paid to bail people out of jail who are rioters and destroying things in the streets. So they don't just cheer it on, they incentivize it. You also have Hunter Eagleman saying, quote, this dude is a piece of shit. Sorry, getting 136 likes. Again, click that subscribe button. I have that theory when I first started the show. Barely anyone tuned in. Well, maybe my parents. Or maybe not even them, some episodes. But nevertheless, I stuttered over my words even worse than I do now. And many would say I actually stumbled over my words worse than Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs. However, as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I become a little bit more articulate. Granted, some might say just a modicum of improvement, barely anything at all, statistically speaking, but technically I would say an improvement, which fuels my theory. The more people that click that button and tell your friends, the better I will get at speaking, and someday make it through an entire episode perfectly, articulately, and fluently, and interestingly enough. As some people want me to emphasize my voice, as I try to do from time to time. So you can click that button and tell your friends. I really appreciate it. And your enemies. They might be so annoyed with the content or disappointed that, makes them do something crazy, kind of like poking the bear. Probably not the best idea. Or they might love the content so much they become your friend. You never know. At least it'll make for a funny story, so why not? Now, going back to the comments, you also have Eric N saying, quote, or they have a Venn diagram. The Venn diagram says Epstein client list, Diddy client list, and in the middle it intersects, saying, quote, all the celebrities coming out to support Kamala. Getting 5 likes. Well, they also got millions of dollars from her. Let's see here. Bobo Stark says Jimmy Kimmel is a propagandist piece of shit. There's a dumpster that says, "Oh, look, celebrity opinions gain 1 like." The average Joe says, "Sure, sure. How much would little Jimmy like it when he was being targeted, getting 11 likes?" Ryan Fortier says, quote, "So we just allow the tactic narratives to attack Tesla. This should be an FCC violation getting 77 likes." Which, again, I don't think you'd ever actually get prosecuted or ever actually get any fines, especially with who runs some parts of the government still. Because, again, he would just say he's being a comedian, he's trying to be funny, which maybe he does try. I don't think he's been funny in decades, but nevertheless, that's technically his job. Well, no, let's be honest, his job's be a propaganda machine, but I mean, he did just coyly say it, and it was just that extra look at the screen and a little hint of a smile and the inflection of the tone. But nevertheless, I'm sure, I don't think he'd actually be prosecuted these days. Because again, he's not articulating a specific thing like, hey, go to this. Yeah, this, legally speaking, yeah, the boundary or the limit to actually be charged with, actually, incentivizing and actually legally pushing people to violence is, I don't think it anywhere near falling into that category. You also have Andrew Fisher say, quote, "Kash Patel should arrest this domestic terrorist," getting 22 likes. You also have Alpha Fox saying, "Inciting violence much," getting 34 likes. Not too many people sticking up for Jimmy Kimmel. I'm excited to see all the blue check marks. A lot of people are actually contributing to X. Again, Elon can afford, obviously, to take a loss in the short term. I wonder how long he's willing to take the loss long term. Because, again, they do have employees at X.com and all that kind of stuff. We'll see if it's ever fiscally viable. Definitely one of the biggest cultural impacts on the United States and the world, I would say, is X.com. But let me know in the comments, what will happen first? Will Jimmy Kimmel stop being an annoying douchebag? Or will X or Twitter make a profit? Which one will happen first? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, if Owen Shroyer is swatted as leftists continue their tyrannical weaponization of government against conservatives. And they face basically no negative repercussions. Fascinating, the tolerant left. Oh wait, that's hilarious because they're absolutely not. Inciting violence, literally burning down cities, destroying Teslas, and swatting people that are even moderately conservative. Now, Owen Shroyer is one of the top contributors at, Alex Jones' parent company, or Alex Jones' media company, InfoWars. And yeah, it looks like someone called in a threat for Owen Shroyer, and the SWAT showed up in full gear. Got 3. Well, maybe it's a lazy day. The SWAT, they don't have helmets on the SWAT team, or no less. It's probably just local police. They got an AR-15 that costs more than my car. I say that because there's probably about 15 accessories bolted onto that AR-15, including a nice suppressor, which that's probably another 5. Get a 3D printed suppressor that's like $1,700 plus for the Surefire RC3. Well, then you got the adapter that's $250, or the muzzle adapter more specifically. They got some nice, sure, those are Surefire. Yeah, those are probably Surefire flashlights. Another couple $100. Got an optic on there, a couple $100. A pretty penny, to say the least, of the taxpayers' dollars. And then they're also paying, police and SWAT to go to this conservative commentator's house. And again, the goal of swatting is, they want the, not just intimidation, but they want the bad outcomes where, again, you get some trigger-happy people who work in the police, the SWAT department, or they they sense a risk and they take you out. Now, thankfully, he was okay. Now, unceremoniously, or I don't know how you specifically articulate this, undignified, but they asked him to take off his shirt, which, at least he's in shape. So that might be maybe that'll be mildly entertaining if this were to happen to me. People get to see me without a shirt off. A very rare thing. It's happened, when was the last time I was in a public pool? When was NSYNC popular? I was going to say, all these hours of working out, but no one to see. But nevertheless, they can see him. Another one of these clips, he actually does take off his shirt. I can't imagine how scary this is. So a guy with gym shorts, where you could obviously see he's not packing, and not being pejorative about some things. I mean, you can see he doesn't have a firearm or pistol on him. He's got no shirt on and gym shorts, and there's still got, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 police officers or SWAT guys with guns trained on him? Yeah. Wonder how many of these police officers are in on it. How scary is that? One false move, one sneeze, and his life's gone. All because of radical leftist. I would also argue the deep state and corrupt police. So he's saying, I'm alone. This is a false police report. I can't help but think it's not a coincidence that one of the police officers has their light trained right on his camera phone and is blinding the lens. Although maybe it's totally coincidence. I mean, the government's always they're always not play nice. They're not corrupt or evil or, murderous. Oh, wait. That does happen from time to time. Shit. Sorry about that.
Sorry, guys. Like, hurt my knees. Keep crawling. Keep crawling. Now lay on your stomach. Lay on your stomach. Put your hands out like an airplane. Put your palms up towards the sky. Stay right there. Do not move. Do you understand? Yes, sir.
What a piece of shit. Police officer continues to just blare that light right at the camera phone so you can see less and less. It sounds like they're handcuffing him now. That light continues to try to blind the camera. There's the one light left. Now they all go and presumably try to break down the door or just barge in if the door's already open.
Oh, police department, make yourself known! Police department, come to the front door!
It's your nice local government here.
Police department, come to the front door with your hands up and empty! It's the only way I can guarantee your safety!
Jesus. Oh, it's Austin Police Department. They're probably not blue or, not politically motivated. So Austin is a pretty, open-minded place. Oh, wait. No, not if you're in the middle or conservative. You're definitely the outlier in Austin. They like to, as they say, keep it weird. Now, this show got more viral. It got about 300,000 views and 3.2 thousand likes. Now, one of the first comments comes from Stacy Washington saying, quote, Owen, thank God you're okay. This is such a hate crime and not an act of domestic terror. Time for the DOJ to activate, getting 194 likes. Owen Shroyer responded saying, that's right, it must be stopped. Thank you, Stacy. Getting 147 likes. Maga Maggot says, quote, what is with the endless instructions? Instructions? Getting 45 likes. Which I definitely misread that when I commented, but nevertheless, a handsome guy did respond. Me. I say, quote, the left using the weapons they have at hand, the deep state and big government. Getting 3 likes. I also have Strixus, Crixus, says, quote, it's open season on conservatives, and they will do this because they know they can get away with it. Enough is enough. And it says Pam Bondi must resign. Getting 197 likes. G-Day America says, quote, this is on you, Pam Bondi and AG Pam Bondi. So you tagged her personal profile and professional profile, saying, quote, get your ass off Fox News and fix the terror happening to our citizens. Enough is enough. Getting 584 likes. Which, yeah, I think if you, again, interesting how little effort the government has to actually find out the bad guys. Famously, Tim Pool was spotted multiple times, and the police never, or the FBI, they never actually found out who was the bad guy doing it. And because of the details Tim Pool revealed, the only way that someone could have actually successfully swatted them in terms of tell the police specifically where to go is if someone had insider information or someone was very intimately detailed with their land and their property in which no average person would be able to know. So it's very specific swatting against him, and yet, he gave actually additional information to the FBI, and nothing ever happened. Call me crazy, but maybe the government does not want to investigate itself. Now, you also have Big Dog saying this is insane. It wouldn't be too much for a trigger-happy cop with too much caffeine to accidentally squeeze the trigger. I mean, historically, they got pretty heavy trigger pulls, but I understand what he's saying. Don't get me wrong. He also says Pambody has been the worst decision that Trump has made since Bolton. She's too busy attending board meetings at the Kennedy Center to do her job, getting 292 likes. Garen Clark says, quote, how do the local cops not know, one, who you are, and two, that every conservative podcaster is being swatted right now? At this point, every conservative podcaster influencer should go to their local departments and let them know the default should be swatting. I think they meant to say the default should not be. Getting 522 likes. I'm safe. I was not swatted. The upside of having a smaller audience on the social media. But yeah, definitely pays off to have not corrupt local police departments. I can't help but think that's a contributing factor in terms of if these police departments had a modicum of intelligence. Not saying they, well, no, actually, no. I will actually say some of them don't. If they were to think at all and they were to read the headlines for within a New York minute, they would say, oh, wow, all these conservatives are being swatted. We got a call for this very famous conservative person. Do you think it might be an attack on them themselves? Yeah, you would think they would think. You would think they would think. Grammatically, I think that's right, though it sounds awkward. Nevertheless, you also have Patriot Beast saying, quote, good God, didn't the cops know that that this is a organized national terror campaign by now? Glad to see ROK getting 254 likes, which, yeah. I mean, imagine if you have Tourette's or some type of, disability in which you have a twitch. I mean, geez Louise. Well, shoot, knowing me, I would stutter and get shot by the police because I have a natural stutter. Yeah, usually it's amplified on camera. But nevertheless, I mean, shoot, you do one wrong thing, you got 520 cops aimed, guns pointed at you. I mean, shoot, you make one millimeter wrong move, your life is gone. You also have Cadillac Games saying, quote, this is beyond insane, a politically motivated swatting attempt that could have ended tragically. The fact that this keeps happening to conservatives and nothing is done is just terrifying. Getting 32 likes, 33 likes, let's make it. Which, again, it's always people who are libertarian or on the right who are getting swatted. I've yet to see it happen to anyone on the left. Fascinating statistics, all from the tolerant left. Texas Gal says, quote, huge difference between commie Austin police and police in conservative areas, as you can see from all the other swatting videos. This is overkill humiliation. Why? Because they can. Getting 14, let's make it 15 likes. True. You also have other political commentators like The Quartering, or Jeremy, and he is in Wisconsin, and he actually, I believe he went to the police station first and let him kind of know the situation so that when there was a threat against him, they didn't, come as a whole squad with guns drawn, ready to take him out. You also have Philip Barker saying, so Democrats are using the police as brownshers to intimidate political opponents. Are they sending out other brownshers to destroy Teslas? Who are the fascists? Getting 67 likes. Yep, the ultimate example of the pot calling the kettle black. And you also have swatties with Guthrie Eagleman and multiple other ones. And again, I don't think this will ever actually stop until there's actually negative ramifications for false swatting. We really haven't seen much in our lifetime. I hope that changes, because it's certainly, I would argue that it would fit the justification or the legal definition of attempted murder. But let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political blunder of the day, you have General Motors with yet another recall, this one affecting their fun sports cars. And I know you're not supposed to victim blame. However, here's for those who chose to get the sports car with an automatic transmission, which I would argue is a recall in and of itself. They should recall and give it a proper third pedal like all sports cars should have by default. Now, this comes to us thanks to Brian Hurd, who's a writer at thedrive.com, which he says, quote, Cadillac CT4, CT5, C6, and Chevy Camaro roped into General Motors' 10-speed transmission recall. A defect that has impacted GM's full-size trucks and SUVs could potentially cause issues on 90,000 rear-wheel drive sedans and coupes. Oh, GM. I'm fascinated. The stock has actually gone up past couple of years, but in terms of quality, well, I guess you could argue they are consistent. Not that that's a good thing. Now, It's funny. I still have some family members who drive GM, but it's only because they're part of the retiree program. Because I've had family members who assemble the cars and manage on the management side. And if you worked at the company and you retire, you have access to very cheap, like very great value to you in terms of like cost for like a lease. It's like you have family members with them, but it's like you just know without that promo, they would not drive it. Now, at least the picture does look pretty cool. We got a nice Chevrolet Camaro SS, which again, a great bang for your buck when it's not being recalled, and a fun track toy. I mean, shoot, if I won the lottery, I'd probably get at least one Camaro in the garage there. Good old V8 with a stick shift. I mean, shoot, especially the ZL1. The amount of engineering put in that is quite impressive. In a hand-built engine in Michigan, that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, they're being recalled, apparently. Whoops, you should have got that third pedal. But nevertheless, if you got the true sports car trim level of the Cadillac CT4V Blackwing and CT5V Blackwing, those actually did have a take rate of 50% for vehicles with getting a manual transmission. So about half of those owners are probably smiling, thinking, yet another reason I made the right decision. Now, diving into the article, they say, quote, General Motors announced it's expanded the recall campaign for vehicles equipped with a 10-speed automatic transmission to include early model years of Cadillac CT4, CT5 sedans, some CT6, and a 6th-generation Chevy Camaro production. As in GM's full-size trucks and SUVs, the issue arises from an abnormal wear of a valve inside the transmission. As the wear progresses, it can lead to hard shifts and, in rare cases, cause the drive wheels to lock up externally. Whoops. Jeez. General Motors is voluntarily recalling certain 2020 to 2022 Chevy Camaro, 2021 to 2020 Cadillac CT4 and CT5, and 2019 to 2020 CT6 models that resolve a 10-speed transmission control valve defect. This, according to a senior General Motors marketing spokesperson talking to The Drive. They say the safety of our customers is the highest priority for the entire GM team, and we're working to remedy this matter through a software update as soon as possible. Which, I wasn't trying to laugh. I couldn't control myself. The safety is a top priority, and yet they have many recalls that are directly affected or that fall into the category that would include safety issues. But they care, we're told. They say, quote, excessive wear within the transmission's valve body can lead to a fluid leak. The resulting pressure drop can cause valves to move unexpectedly, according to a General Motors report. Eventually, that can manifest as harsh downshifts on rare cases, quote unquote, momentarily. Really momentarily. 550 milliseconds lock up the wheels. In one instance, an all-drive Cadillac CT5 transmission hiccuped severely enough to damage the front differential and engine of the vehicle, forcing it to be towed. Ouch. That's going to be a pretty penny. I say GM's remedy for the Cadillac CT4 and CT5 and Chevy Camaro is essentially the same as it is for the pickups. The first step is pushing out a software update that will monitor the transmission for signs of impeding failure to restrict the ability to perform downshifts that could lead to wheel lock up. This update would cap the 10-speed automatic transmission to just 5 gears. Jeez Louise. That would we'll just neuter your transmission for a while, eliminating the major trouble spot downshifts from 8th gear. From there, GM will have to work with customers to handle any transmissions that have already demonstrated accelerated valve wear. Recall notifications are in the process of being sent to dealers. Owners should be receiving the notifications mid-April. Or just tune into the show where we usually cover auto recalls a month before they're actually mailed out. And again, I'm not surprised at this point because there's so many parts sharing between General Motors vehicles. I just don't know who allegedly is in charge of their quality assurance department. Allegedly, there is a department within the company that is in charge of that. And again, these are supposed to be your more premium cars. I mean, traditionally, sports cars and luxury cars are I would argue, the most important from an automotive manufacturer perspective because they have the highest amount of gross margin or highest amount of profit built into them. I mean, GM made negative $480 on the Chevy, not the Cobalt, the Cruze, which I would argue great value. I love my Chevy Cruze Eco with a stick shift, but they're usually loss leaders. I mean, especially the small subcompact cars. That's why a lot of them stop making them altogether. But you really make a lot of your profit off the luxury cars, the sports cars, and it's supposed to invigorate, be kind of a halo effect to draw people to the brand, get them in the showrooms, get them excited about owning the brand of the vehicle, and then maybe, once they look at their budget, they'll get the family like the Chevy Malibu when they used to make that. So it's one of those instances where, I mean, if anything, you should have double the quality assurance for the luxury department or your luxury divisions and sports cars. They clearly don't, but yeah, GM having yet another recall Gotta say that it's certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.